Hi. Yes, welcome to the channel. That's me on the right, and I'm very happy, for no reason at all. This guy on the right in the co-pilot seat got in and said, "Take me to Lukla Airport, as we are in the Nepalese Valley, and I wish to meet up with my expedition crew. We are going to summit Mount Everest very shortly." I didn't agree, but I guess might as well, because I'm the Good Samaritan. We're going to accomplish this feat today by approaching one of the world's most dangerous airports in the Mario Noriega Design C-22J Ventura. So let's go ahead and get in and start this machine up, as I was just about to take off, and this happened. I might as well close the canopy back up and start this aircraft. Naturally, I had to shut it down for our occupant so that they could get in. And so we're mostly run up here in terms of our systems. We're going to go ahead and switch on the transponder again to altimeter reporting mode. And we're going to start the left and right engines. Now this aircraft is a supposed Italian military trainer jet. I bought it fifth hand from a guy who got it from a guy who got it from somebody they didn't remember, from a guy, so on and so forth. I don't have the paperwork for this craft yet, but I'm told it's in the mail. So we're just gonna fly it as is. Great. Might as well wait for those engines to come up. Bring the generators online. We're looking for an N% of 55 on the left and right engines. Generator should automatically pop on. I'll have the fuel boost pumps on for the start and the takeoff. Let's go ahead and throw in some flaps while we're at it, because why not? So I'm assuming that's a good light off on the left hand engine, and we're steadily making our way to the right hand start as well. Let's go ahead and turn off these fuel shutoff valves so we don't accidentally hit those. Now we shouldn't have to let the aircraft warm up today, because I was already on my taxi rollout for takeoff on the active when this gentleman stepped inside the airplane and said, "Take me places." We're also running an experiment here today. We're not going to have any GPS as we're rolling out with all steam gauges. We're just going to see if we can find Lukla Airport with nothing but visual references alone. So we'll fly up this valley to the north, take a right, look for the mountaintops, and see if we can't not find Lukla. Make a successful approach and get this guy out to his hotel room. And here we go. The one thing you want to do when you're taking an airplane off is look for trees at the end of the runway, because that's always great if you have to do an aborted takeoff. So we're going to steer to the left and try to avoid that as best we can. And it appears as though we're still doing alright. Hopefully our passenger is not too perturbed. I'm just going to go ahead and trim this aircraft off for level flight, as it were. You'll probably notice the flight today is going to be fairly uncomfortable, because there are a lot of thermals in these valleys. So why not get a headache as well as take some right-hand seat occupants that were not given permission to ride with us today? Great. Although I will say, there are some redeeming graces in this flight, because I do like this aircraft. It's quite simple in nature, but it is neat that it's a very light aircraft with a relatively short range of that 650 nautical miles. But it has an ample 25,000 foot ceiling. So we're able to go places and save a lot of fuel by traveling fairly high. And I figured, you know, for a fifth-hand aircraft, why not explore the scenery in the Nepalese Valley here? And pray that we have no engine outs. Great. Plenty of climb power with this aircraft. And as always, thanks for joining me today on this flight. I'd rather have the YouTube viewers watching my flights than the gentleman seated in the co-pilot seat there. So hopefully this will be a real-time flight of exploration. You'll get to see the full flight. We're going to try to find Mount Everest. And once we do, we know that down the Mount Everest Valley, the Lhotse Basin, is where our airport, aka destination, exists. I have never tried landing at Lukla Airport before in this aircraft, so this will be a first for me. I've gone ahead and skipped setting the altimeter because when you're taking off from a airport that doesn't have any lawnmowers to cut the grass, there's no reason to worry about altimeter settings. We've got plenty of fuel. We've got plenty of altitude and plenty of airspeed. That's all I'm caring about right now. Of course, there's an abundance of scenery here that we can appreciate. And I'm just scanning around the scenery here so that we can find Lukla. Naturally, the mountain-capped range in the background is where we're going to be focusing our visual attention to. Is the higher you go, the more snow you get. At least that's what they told me. So we're just going to leave all of our lights on because I'm not sure what the electrical condition of this aircraft is. Like I said, fifth-hand owner, it is what it is. And I'm just gonna guess, but it would seem as though the higher the mountains look, the more likely they are going to be. One of them, at least, will be Mount Everest. So let's just go towards what looks like it's the highest thing in the area. Certainly nothing out to our extreme left and nothing out that way. I also would like to point out that our passenger today is a quantum teleportation genius because they're only visible from the outer view, which is a bit strange, but I could have sworn I had that conversation where they told me they needed to go summit Everest, and that I was their pilot to take them there. Sure. And if my understanding serves me correct, we're passing through 13,400 feet. 13,380. And there's 14,000 or something like that. I'm just a glass gauge noob. G1000s all the way. But it's a clear day. So, that's fantastic. We can see where we're going and what we're doing. Today's video was all about the fun. And one can definitely pick up by sight those thermals, rocking the craft around quite a bit. Great, so since our quantum teleporting customer here is not very talkative, and neither am I'm just gonna go ahead and hit the pause button on the record until I can find this gentleman's so-called Lukla airport. Once we get closer, I'll go ahead and reactivate the record button as to catch that sweet approach. And I'll see you in, well, just a couple seconds. And just like that, we are back. If I could guide your attention to the left, that indeed is the Lukla Airport landing area. So we're going to go ahead and make a swift left turn into this valley and attempt to get this gentleman to his trekking expedition. Quite the valley down there in the little river flow. And at the base of those mountains there, straight ahead of us, is where our runway is. As you can see, there's not room for error. So if this approach gets botched, there's not enough time to do a takeoff go around, and there's not enough space, nor is there enough horsepower. So we're going to have to get this right on the first time. Should not be a problem. Let's go ahead and pop out our speed brakes and rapidly slow down so that we can descend. I find flying in this region quite amazing. Plenty to see and plenty of places to go. Just up that valley is Mount Everest, of course the tallest mountain above sea level, as well as many other mountains that are well known in the mountaineering field and by many around the world. Ama de Blanc and the Lhotse Face, which is just adjacent to Mount Everest. Quite an interesting region of the planet. And that's why we're here today, exploring our fifth-hand aircraft with an unknown passenger on board. And you may just see near the compass rose there, the runway and where we're trying to achieve a successful landing today. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I'm thoroughly trimmed out for hands off the yoke flight, because this is not an approach you want to do with a plane that's out of trim. You want to reduce as much overhead as possible when coming in on approach here, because any unnecessary complications just makes the approach even more difficult. Right at the start of our threshold on the runway there, of course the glare isn't helping us at all, is a drop-off. So you can't come in short and you can't land long, or you're in the muck either way. I like to approach this runway a little bit high just to ensure that we make it across the numbers. Getting a little close to stall speed there as I retract the spoiler speed brakes. And touchdown, almost like a carrier landing in brutality. Fantastic. There it is. Welcome to Lukla Airport. I'm thrilled because the gentleman that keeps quantum shifting to our right can now meet his Expedition Summit crew. We can go ahead and use that as a reason to call an end to this video and say thank you for joining us today here at Full On Gaming. I certainly hope that you've enjoyed this shorter video. While we're at it, let's go ahead and remove power and fuel to these engines. We'll just go ahead and turn the transponder off and move the battery. Great. And that should do it for today's flight. As you can see, quite an interesting approach, quite an interesting airport, in an even more interesting part of the world. So thank you for joining me today with this C-22J by Mario Noriega Designs and Microsoft Flight Simulator. And until the next video, have a great day. We'll see you later.